Unexplainable terror. The sinister girl who stopped aging after 12 revealed secrets haunt parents in the quaint town of Willow Creek, Ohio. Everything looked perfect: sprawling lawns, picket fences, smiling neighbors sipping lemonade on the porch. But behind that veil of normalcy lurked something dark, something that transformed cheerful banter into tight-lipped whispers. The disturbance began with the Smiths, who couldn't shake the chilling truth about their daughter, Anna. At 12 years old, she stopped aging, leaving her parents, Mike and Sarah, clenching their teeth against the growing eeriness. In the yard, where sunbeams danced, shadows twisted like restless spirits, wrapping Anna in a sinister allure that seemed to draw the neighborhood pets to her. Sarah stood by the kitchen window, frost creeping over her painted heart. She gazed out at Anna, who was mesmerized by the shadows of the twisted old oak tree, its gnarled branches clawing at the sky like skeletal fingers. A cold tremor slithered down Sarah's spine. It was as if the tree was alive, an ancient sentinel that observed the creeping dread overtaking their once peaceful lives. As the trees whispered, so did the neighbors, casting side glances that carried the weight of envy and suspicion. "Something's off with Anna," they murmured, voices laced with fear. Mike heard the undertones, felt their eyes on them like a noose tightening. He tried to dismiss it, reach out to friends over barbecues, and bring normalcy back, but their laughter faded to uneasy silences and forced smiles. Their once tight-knit community fractured around him. He felt the walls closing in. Then came the sirens one uneventful night, wailing echoes twisting around corners, as flickering streetlights painted their yard in hellish shadows. Sarah's heart raced when she finally spotted her daughter on the front porch, playing with the shadows. "Anna! Come inside!" she shouted, panic licking at her throat. But Anna didn't respond. Instead, she continued her wild movements, her small frame flickering like a dying bulb. Her eyes, bright and endless, filled with something dark and ancient. Desperation clawed at Sarah and Mike, spiraling them into the dark corners of the town's history. Old newspapers piled high on the kitchen table spoke of a pact once made in desperate times that festered over generations. It claimed the founders traded youth for dark tithe, feeding an unknown force that merely simmered beneath the surface. They had stumbled upon something sinister. The idyllic suburban life was nothing but a facade. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With Anna's 13th birthday approaching, ominous notes began to materialize, a chilling reminder of their precarious existence. Each slip of paper turned their horror into reality, hinting at conspiracies veiled in whispers, leaving Sarah haunted by paranoia. The fabric of their lives unraveled, revealing the very neighbors they trusted as potential threats. One fateful evening, an unexpected confrontation unraveled the last threads of normalcy. A neighbor's eyes widened in fear as shadows lunged toward Sarah. In that terrifying moment, everything shifted. She felt the allure wrap around her, beckoning her into their dance of despair. As Anna turned to her with a smile that twinkled sinister, her voice whispered secrets that dripped with ancient knowledge beyond her years. The shocking truth washed over them: they were losing Anna to something much darker. And with time running against them, the couple faced what could become a harrowing nightmare. The countdown to reclaim their family had begun, but at what cost? The anticipation of Anna's 13th birthday loomed over the Smith household like a dark cloud. Time bled differently in their world, days slipping away in a haze of fear and desperation. As Sarah paced the dimly lit living room, her mind raced with unanswered questions and dread. The notes kept coming, each one more cryptic than the last, every message painting a clearer picture of the horror they faced. "Find the tree," one warned. "The shadows know." She shuddered at the last line. What could it mean? The oak tree that loomed over their yard felt like a monument to their suffering, and Anna had become its devoted disciple. A chill swept through her, leaving her breathless as visions of her daughter dancing in the shadows flashed through her mind. Those luminous eyes, now so distant, were filled with a hunger that struck her like ice. "Mike," she called, her voice trembling as she thought about her husband's inability to confront their growing fears. "We need to take action. We have to do something before it's too late." Mike emerged from the kitchen, his face pale. The unease in his expression mirrored her own. "What if we just talk to Anna? Maybe she's just confused." "Confused? Mike, she's not the same. It's as if she's possessed by the very shadows we fear." His shoulders sank as he shuffled toward her, glancing toward the window that overlooked the decaying oak. "We can't lose her, no. She's slipping away." Her voice hitched, tears pooling in her eyes. She could feel the weight of the town's dark history pressing in, and surrounding them with each whispered rumor and furtive glance. They were losing her to what? She couldn't allow herself to think about it. Silence fell, heavy and thick, as they exchanged anxious glances. In that quiet moment, the sirens from a distant ambulance echoed, slicing through the night like a knife, grounding Sarah in reality. Then, crashing from the back of the house shattered the stillness. A loud bang, gravel scattering pulled them from their stupor. "Anna!" They shouted, lives hanging on that name as they tore through the back porch into the eerie twilight. Their hearts raced, pounding helplessly as shadows curled around the edge of the yard. Rushing down the steps, a scream lodged in Sarah's throat. There stood their daughter, arms spread wide as a flurry of darkness spun around her, weaving a hypnotic dance. Gazing up at the ancient tree, Anna's laughter echoed unnaturally, rich and haunting. "Anna! Come back!" Mike yelled, but she simply swayed, every inch of her infected by those twisted shades. Sarah's breath hitched. What if all this time, they were the cursed ones? A chilly breeze whispered through the leaves, and suddenly, Anna stopped. Her head snapped towards them, an unsettling grin plastered across her face. "You should join us," she sang, the melody dripping with malice. "The shadows want you here." Fear choked Sarah as the ground beneath their feet quivered. A tremor rolled through the soil, cracking beneath the weight of ancient burdens. The neighbors, silhouettes in the dim light, rushed to their windows, their shadows contorting grotesquely against the walls, carved into the very fabric of dread. As Mike moved to reach for Anna, an unseen force struck him, sending him sprawling backward. "No! Stay away!" he gasped, his voice ragged, tearing through the night. "Don't you see?" Anna laughed, "it's where you belong." With her chilling words, the oak trembled, roots spiraling like tentacles reaching out through the grass. The very shadows that enveloped Anna began pulling at Sarah's own feet, dragging her toward the dark heart of the tree. As cold terror gripped her, Sarah felt the primal scream ready to escape her lips. Would they be swallowed by the darkness forever? In that moment of despair, a flicker of hope sparked. She needed to free Anna before it was too late. Desperation filled her veins as she gazed into her daughter's eyes, searching for the flicker of the girl she once knew. "Fight it, Anna. Remember who you are." But shadows danced, laughter echoed, and time counted down. Darkness promised to swallow them all. What if the time to reclaim their daughter had already passed? A deafening silence followed Anna's haunting invitation. Shadows wrapped around Sarah's legs like icy ropes, each tug pulling her deeper into the darkness. She fought against it, her heart pounding like a war drum in her chest. Panic consumed her. "Anna! Please!" The desperation in her voice was palpable as she reached towards her daughter, feeling an invisible wall rip her apart from the girl she had known since birth. If she could just touch Anna, break through the spell woven by the night itself. But Anna's eyes, once warm and alive, were devoid of humanity, glimmering with a cold, starved desire. The laughter bubbling from her lips sounded like a broken doll, twisted and sadistic. "Everything will be better here, Mom. Just give in." The ground shook again, more violently this time, as if responding to Anna's words. Sarah glanced at Mike, who lay sprawled in the gravel, sweat glistening on his forehead, panic etched across his face. "Get up. We have to go," she screamed. He scrambled to his feet, eyes wild. "We can't leave her, Sarah." The shadows writhed around Anna like serpents, and the tree loomed over them, branches stretching, contorting into skeletal hands that beckoned. "It's so beautiful here," Anna sang, her voice rising like a spell to the night. "You'll understand soon." "I don't want to understand." Sarah yelled back, digging her heels into the earth, desperately trying to resist the pull. Then she remembered something, an old story passed down through generations. The tree was not just a tree, it was a vessel. A place of sacrifices, of deals made and broken. "Anna." Her voice broke again, tears cascading down her cheeks. "Remember your birthday party? The cake, the balloons? The friends? Please think of them." For a heartbeat, a flicker of recognition passed over her daughter's face. The shadows hesitated, as if caught off guard. "But they weren't real," Anna said, confusion lacing her voice. The grip on Sarah and Mike weakened. "Yes, they were. They loved you. I love you." It was as if the world paused. But then, Anna's expression darkened, the smile twisting into something sinister. "But you're not believing, Mommy. You have to believe in us." And with those words, the shadows struck back, tightening their grip, pulling Sarah closer. A screeching wind blew through the clearing, and the fallen leaves danced around them, whispering secrets Sarah barely comprehended. "Help me." Mike's voice was a rasp, urgent and low. He stumbled forward, desperately trying to get through to Anna, but shadows erupted from the oak, slashing at him. He fell again, gritting his teeth against the pain. "No, no, no." He gasped. "Stay away." Anna screamed, entwined with the shadows as if they were strands of her very being. Her body tilted, swaying precariously, the tree's dark influence wrapping tighter around her form. "Anna, fight!" Sarah screamed, but it felt futile. The connection was slipping, and the shadows knew it. They surged forward, eager to claim their prey. Sarah felt terror wrap around her throat, suffocating her resolve. But then, a thought pierced through her panic. "They're not yours. You're not lost." She yelled, hoping the bond of motherhood could break this nightmare. "You are my daughter, you are stronger than this. Remember the swings? The sunlight? Our family?" For a moment, the shadows recoiled, shivering as if in dread. Anna's laughter faltered, and in the tremor of a heartbeat, there was something, an echo, a glimpse of the girl that was. But just as suddenly, another wave of darkness crashed over the yard, louder, more insistent, drowning out the flickering light of hope. "No. Join me. It's too late." Sarah felt the coldness of despair sinking in. Her legs threatened to give, but she knew she couldn't give up. And even in that struggle, the earth beneath them surged and cracked, the oak's roots seeking desperate vengeance. Each breath was a battle, each heartbeat a reminder of the fragile thread that tied them to their daughter. "Please," she whispered, tears flowing freely now. "Please, Anna." A blood-chilling laugh erupted from the depths of the shadowy void. "You should have never come here." The ground quivered, and as darkness enveloped her, Sarah realized time was ticking, the last chance to reclaim the light was rapidly fading. What if the shadows had been waiting for this moment all along? The world twisted in chaos, shadows clashing against the soft glow of memories Sarah tried to ignite. As the darkness swirled, she felt the air grow heavy, almost suffocating. Every breath turned to ice in her lungs, and for a moment, she feared that even the faint hope was being crushed alongside her resolve. "Anna!" she screamed, her voice ricocheting off the tree's gnarled branches. "Fight it. You're stronger than this." A twisted grin spread across Anna's face, layered with a monstrous delight that made Sarah's skin crawl. "But she's free. Like I will soon be." Forever. The wind howled, carrying cursed whispers that wrapped around Sarah like chains. Despair crept into her soul like a dark fog, filling her with dread. Mike staggered back, eyes wide with terror. We need to leave. Please, Sarah. His voice wavered, but the urgency demanded action. No. Sarah shot back, though each flutter of resistance felt weaker now. We can't just give up on her. A sharp pain shot through her chest at the thought of abandoning her daughter. The darkness quivered as if convulsing with anger at her stubbornness. You are nothing to her anymore. The shadows screeched simultaneously, their voices merging into a growling cacophony that vibrated through the ground beneath Sarah's feet. Join us or suffer the consequences. Images flashed in her mind: Anna running carefree in the park, her laughter echoing in sunny afternoons, soft lilting melodies of innocence. But those joys were cloaked in shadow now. She is my daughter. Sarah shouted, a last thread of courage sewn into her words. Suddenly, a guttural scream erupted from Mike. A tendril of shadow shot out, wrapping around his ankle. Mike! No! Help me! His face contorted in pain as he fell, yanking at the dark strand like it was a serpent coiling tighter. Let him go! Sarah's voice turned primal as she lunged forward, breaking the temporary spell of fear with sheer desperation. Ignoring her own trembling body, she surged past the wood's eerie tendrils, reaching for the darkness that pinned down Mike. In that moment, something snapped within her, a blinding rage against the creeping despair. You will not take him. You will not take her. She cried, and the shadows faltered, perhaps surprised by her strength. The tree shuddered, retreating slightly, and for a heartbeat, the air grew still. Anna, caught in the tempest of darkness, hesitated. The tormented girl's expression softened just enough for Sarah to catch a glimpse of the real Anna behind the mask, a fleeting reflection of love, confusion, and fear. No. The shadows hissed, tightening their grasp, feeding off her fear like a grotesque banquet. She doesn't belong to you. She is ours. The ground trembled again, splitting wide beneath them as roots twisted and writhed angrily, each cracking sound screaming for release. Sarah's heart raced, its thunder roaring against the chaos. Anna! Remember our love. They're lying. But the darkness screamed louder, black tendrils wrapping around her and Mike, dragging them backward. A sickening pull threatened to rip apart their bond. In the fray, Anna's figure wavered, split between two worlds. The shadows around her pulsed like they were alive, and a chilling voice whispered promises of eternity, the price of which was too high. Embrace it. The shadows cackled. The happiness here is everlasting. No. Sarah shouted again, utterly defiant, even as dread seeped into her every pore. She planted her feet, forcing her heart to beat louder than the shadows' siren song. You will not have my daughter. The howling chorus pitched yet again, sending waves of fear crashing over everything. The abyss writhed violently now, and out of the chaos, she saw a flicker of hope dancing in Anna's eyes as the shadows momentarily paused, pulling back just enough for Sarah to see through the veil. Mom. The sound was barely above a whisper, but it cut through the darkness with a clarity that stunned Sarah. Anna. Please, fight back. I'm right here. Suddenly, an unearthly roar echoed, shaking the very ground. It was a sound of anguish and hatred, a call unmistakably threatening, warning that time was slipping away fast. What would she sacrifice to save her daughter? As the shadows recoiled, Sarah's heart and mind battled with the impossible question that hung in the air: heavy as night, would the ultimate sacrifice be the only way to save them all? The shadows lunged, and Sarah lunged back, her determination locked in a death grip with mounting dread. Panic clawed at her throat as she saw Mike being pulled deeper into the dark abyss. His screams morphed into hollow cackles, laughter twisted by pain, that echoed around them as if mocking their plight. Don't let go. She pleaded, stretching her fingers toward him, willing the darkness to release its hold. But the darkness was insatiable, it consumed everything, leaving nothing but a chilling silence in its wake. "Sarah." Mike's voice cracked. His eyes bulged with fear, desperation rising like smoke around them. "Please, we're running out of time. Anna. Fight back." Sarah shouted into the tempest, her voice barely piercing through the chaos as she struggled to contain her own rising terror. For a flickering second, Anna's expression changed, confusion battling the dark glee painted across her face. "Mom." The whisper held a shiver of hope, cutting through the depths of despair like a beacon. But the shadows swarmed back, smothering that fragile spark, their whispers thickening. "She's not yours." She never was. The ground trembled again, a violent shudder that seemed to echo the turmoil in her heart. In that moment of chaos, Sarah felt a shattering realization wash over her. This wasn't merely a battle against darkness, it was a fight for Anna's essence itself. Could it drain the very soul of her daughter? "Help me." Mike gasped again, the tendrils pulling him lower, deeper into the gaping maw of shadows. The darkness whispered sweet promises, caressing her skin like a lover betraying trust. They were manipulating her, twisting her through the web of doubt and fear. "Join us, be free." "No." Sarah roared, the sound rising from her gut, a volcanic eruption of defiance. "You will never have her." The shadows recoiled slightly, startled. For a second, it felt as if she had tasted victory. She turned back to Anna, a mix of love and desperation flooding her veins. "You have to fight them, Anna. Remember who you are. Remember our time at the lake. Those firefly nights." And something shifted within Anna's eyes, momentarily wrestling with the dark forces enfolding her. For a heartbeat, clarity returned as her voice slipped through the barrier of chaos. I remember, Mom. I don't want this. I don't want to be theirs." But the darkness hissed, infuriated by her flicker of resistance. The dark tendrils thrashed wildly, a tempest of wrath exploding around them. "She is ours. You cannot save her." The chorus of voices roared, and the shadows slammed against Sarah, propelling her back. Stumbling, Sarah gasped, fighting to regain her stance. Then she felt it, a pulse beneath the ground, a vibration that resonated through her bones, a heartbeat that felt strangely familiar, echoing the bond she shared with Anna. The shadows recoiled for a moment, sensing the strength of that bond, that unmistakable essence of love. "Mom, I'm scared." Anna cried, her voice breaking. "Then fight, sweetheart. You're stronger than them." Sarah shouted back. From somewhere deep inside, she tapped into that well of instinct, that primal force that screamed to protect. Her love for Anna became a battering ram against the approaching darkness. The shadows screeched, as if her words had sliced through them, and Anna's silhouette flickered between light and dark, battling the sinister hold that threatened to devour her. Just when it seemed she might break free, Sarah noticed tendrils reaching for Anna's heart, siphoning away her last shreds of emotion. "Anna." Sarah lunged once more, muscles straining, as the very air shimmered with tension. She felt an almost palpable connection between them, a tether that illuminated the shadows around. "Hold on. I'll do anything." But a voice boomed, low and guttural, sending tremors through the ground. "What would you sacrifice, Sarah? The choice is yours." Time paused. What depth of despair would she plunge into to save her child? A chilling wind howled, carrying the weight of impossible decisions, and the shadows surged forward once again. Would she plunge into the darkness herself, sacrificing everything? In the heart of that chaotic maelstrom, Sarah stood at a precipice, and beneath the roar of shadows, a question lingered in the air, heavy as night: what would it cost her to save Anna? The shadows pulsed and writhed, vibrating with an energy that felt alive. With every heartbeat, Sarah could almost hear the pounding desperation within her chest drown out the cacophony around her. Around them, the darkness hissed, swirling like a tempest, ready to consume them whole. "Sarah." Mike's voice grew fainter, pulled as if by a tidal force, yet it echoed in her mind, urging her onward. She scanned frantically for Anna, fighting the encroaching dread threatening to choke her resolve. "Anna." Focus on me. Sarah shouted, straining against the pressure of shadows squeezing her heart. She took a step forward, fighting the weight of panic anchoring her down. A chilling laughter morphed into whispers, creeping into her mind. You're losing her. You're all alone. No. She gasped, shaking her head as if the motion could dispel the thoughts like smoke. She clenched her fists, teeth gritted. You don't own her. She belongs to the light. The shadows recoiled, momentarily startled, giving Sarah the briefest glimmer of strength, but darkness has a way of swirling tighter. It loomed closer, suffocatingly intimate, pressing at her throat. The light of her will flickered like a dying flame. Anna. Sweetheart, please. Sarah implored, reaching out with every ounce of love she had. You need to believe in us. In the chaos, she saw Anna's face, twisted in agony, trapped in a living nightmare. Flashes of vulnerability broke through the surface as if battling against an unseen weight. Mom, I can't. Anna gasped, a plea that seemed to transcend the void that surrounded them. I know you can. Remember the gardens, the laughter. We are stronger when we're together. Sarah shouted, willing Anna to cling to fragments of their love, to rise against the darkness, but the shadows lashed out in fury, their grip plummeting deeper. Why not join us, Sarah? What would you rather lose, a mere child or your very soul? The voice boomed, low and sinister, vibrating through the ground. A wave of dread crashed over Sarah. You think I'd trade my soul for anything? Her heart raced as adrenaline surged through her veins, but the voice chuckled, a sound that dug deep into her skull. Then what will you offer us instead? In that heartbeat, she knew there was no easy answer. The price of eternal darkness bore down upon her, every second stretching like an eternity. And still, the shadows clawed for Anna, darkness greedily sucking the light away while Sarah fought against despair. Stop! Sarah screamed, her resolve hardening like steel. You can't have her. You want a sacrifice? Take me. For a heartbeat, the shadows stilled, an eerie silence stretching taut as a string. Then a chill darted through the air like ice, the last whisper of hesitation gone. Mike's eyes widened in disbelief, panic flaring. Sarah, no. It's the only way. She shouted back, though fear gnawed at her gut. Anna, hold on to me. A blinding light flickered, illuminating the darkness as Sarah stepped into the fray, determined to pull Anna back. In that moment, a horrible choice loomed before her, one weighted with every emotion of a mother's heart. The shadows recoiled at her advance but quickly regained their vigor, swirling together in a monstrous form driven by rage. They lunged with renewed fury, ready to ensnare not just Anna, but Sarah as well. You think this is sacrifice? This is only the beginning. And as she pushed forward, the darkness swelled, the shadows looming larger still. Panic engulfed her as Anna's screams filled the air once more, echoing with the raw agony of despair. Against the clamor of fear, the whispers of shadows surged forward, weaving a tale of torment. Would Sarah's sacrifice shatter the chains holding Anna captive or plunge them both into something more horrifying than either could imagine? As the darkness enveloped her, another choice flickered in her mind. What if letting the darkness claim her would give Anna the strength she needed to break free? A sudden stillness fell, and in that moment, reality twisted into a new form of horror. The question hung heavily in the air: would she truly be willing to lose herself to save her daughter, even if it meant becoming part of the darkness forever? And somewhere deep within, a voice whispered, you can't ever undo what's about to happen. A shiver slithered down Sarah's spine as she faced the encroaching shadow. It roared and surged like a tidal wave, eager to drag them into its depths. Desperation clawed at her throat, almost choking her words. Anna, please. Her voice shook, power mingling with fear. The darkness thrummed, as if it could smell her dread. Anna's scream pierced the haze, a visceral sound that splintered Sarah's heart. I can't fight this, Mom. Her daughter's voice blended with a chorus of sinister whispers, tilting Sarah's world. Dread bubbled like venom in her veins, the taste of it sour against her tongue. No. Sarah screamed. You have to fight. You are stronger than this. She felt the energy of her love coalesce into something tangible, pushing back against the shadowy tide. But with each breath, the walls of darkness constricted tighter around both Anna and herself, suffocating her resolve. The shadows surged forward, their fingers stretching out like skeletal hands, intent on wrapping around Sarah's wrists and dragging her into the abyss. A glimmer of light flickered deep within the tumult, the fracture lines between shadow and hope sharpening momentarily. But it was deceptive. The darkness quivered, threatening to swallow that light whole. Join us, it whispered seductively, its voice a silk-lined dagger. What is your life worth against her anguish? Relinquish your soul, and freedom will be yours. In that moment of paralyzing fear, memories of Anna flashed in Sarah's mind, laughter echoing through sun-drenched gardens, her daughter twirling in a flowery dress, innocent joy painting their world vibrant. Tears stung her eyes, fueled by fading laughter that seemed to drift just beyond reach. Never. She retorted, rallying against the despair. You're lying. Anna would never want this. You show no mercy. Mercy? The shadows recoiled, as if her words had hurt them. Do you think mercy exists in this realm? Convenience and chaos reign here. The shadows seemed to pull back, almost considering. A sudden rush of wind swept through the chaos, and for a heartbeat, Sarah could see Anna's figure, a pale silhouette struggling against an unseen force. Hope flared anew, and she lunged forward. Hold on to me, Anna. She shouted, stretching her fingers toward her daughter. Mom, I can't. Anna cried, her voice thick with pain. The shadows pressed closer, a malicious tide inching forward. With new resolve, Sarah pushed through the darkness, driven by a fierce need to protect her child. But the further she stepped, the more the shadows coiled around her, ensnaring her limbs and freezing her in place. Her heart thundered, breaths quickening as the darkness invited her chilling touch. Sarah's feet felt like lead, caught in an unfathomable weight. Dread flooded her senses, filling her mind with echoes of the shadows' laughter. Are you ready, Sarah? Are you ready to lose everything? She couldn't answer, her mind spiraling with terror and urgency. What if this was the moment she crossed into oblivion? She thought of Anna, her sweet girl trapped in turmoil. And suddenly, Anna's face appeared again through the chaos, lips trembling, eyes wide with fear yet still holding that flicker of love. Mom, don't let go. Sarah gasped, grappling with the decision that clawed at her mind. But could she endure this fight alone? What if the darkness truly wanted her instead of Anna? The shadows danced on the edges of clarity, drawing her further and further into their enticing whispers. What will be your last thought? What will you leave behind? As Sarah stared into the writhing mass, a switch flickered in her mind. This wasn't just about saving Anna. It was about sacrificing everything. But even if she did, what monster would she become? I choose, she began, her voice gaining resolve, but before she could finish, an ear-splitting roar erupted, shaking her to her core. The shadows surged, altering and twisting, flooding the space like a tempest. And then came the voice, clear and chilling. You dare defy us? We'll show you true terror. A shudder coursed through Sarah as darkness enveloped her like a thick, clammy shroud. Disbelief settled deep inside her. Was this the end? Or was it merely a prelude to something far worse? Just as her vision blurred into nothing, a thought pierced through like a knife. What if Anna couldn't free herself unless Sarah surrendered completely? And then nothingness consumed them both. But in that void, the flickering whispers of dread whispered a final question: what if the true horror was always inside you? Sarah blinked, her eyelids heavy as if weighted down by lead. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. No shadows, no swirling darkness. Just a disorienting grayness that hung in the air like a thick fog. She grasped at the remnants of fear, where echoes of whispers faded into silence. But then she felt it, a pull at the edge of her consciousness. Mom. Anna's voice pierced the mist. It felt like a lifeline thrown into the abyss. Sarah turned, her heart racing, dread clawing once again at her insides. "Anna!" she cried, lunging forward into the fog. The next instant, the world around her ripped away as if it were fabric torn by an unseen force. Everything changed. She found herself in a dimly lit room, barren save for an old, wooden chair and a table scattered with dust. The air was stale, stagnant, and the silence hung heavy, as though it was holding its breath. A flicker of movement caught her eye. There, barely illuminated by the moonlight streaming through a cracked window, stood Anna, a shadow of her former self. She looked older, worn, but absurdly still a child. Her features were elongated, almost exaggerated. Something felt terribly wrong. "Mom, help me," Anna begged, her voice low, teetering on the edge of a sob. "Where are we?" Sarah asked, a chill creeping up her spine as she approached. "What happened?" "I don't know," Anna whispered, the words barely escaping her lips, "but the shadows, they're coming for us. They want to take me. You can't let them." A shudder passed through Sarah, recognizing the threat lurking just beyond the threshold. The sensation of being watched prickled at the back of her neck, growing stronger by the second. The shadows weren't just a backdrop anymore, they were looming, listening, waiting. "Fight, Anna. You need to fight," Sarah urged, desperation clawing at the edges of her resolve. Suddenly, an undeniable wave of darkness washed over them, snaking under the cracks of the room, crawling toward them like insects. The light flickered, casting sinister shapes that danced along the walls, poised to envelop them again. "Don't let it take you," Sarah shouted, reaching out, willing Anna to break from her petrified stance. But Anna merely trembled, her eyes wide with fear, as the shadows began to whisper again. "Join us." They crept closer, wrapping around the chair's legs, sliding like smoke across the floor. "What is your life worth, little girl? Fight it. Please!" Sarah screamed, her voice rising above the murmurs, the panic igniting her spirit. With every ounce of love, she poured her energy into words, images of Anna, memories of their joyful moments. "You're stronger than this." The shadows recoiled again, their voice a hiss. "Strength? There's no strength in your love. Only in submission." Anna staggered, clutching her head as if trying to carve the shadows from her mind. I can't hold on." "No." Sarah lunged toward her. "You have to. You can do it." And then, as if responding to her words, a bright flicker ignited in Anna's eyes. For the first time, it seemed as though Anna was fighting back. The girl willed herself forward, shaking the weight of despair off. But as she took a step, the shadows converged, their grip tightening, hissing like angry snakes. "Why do you resist?" they rasped. "You can have peace. Just let it go." "Mom," Anna faltered, the flickering light dimming again. "Trust me. Don't give in." Sarah shrieked, the finality of the moment crashing over them like an avalanche. The shadows, enraged, roared like an unforgiving ocean, surging forward with increasing intensity. Sarah felt herself being pulled back, the room seeming to spin as the chaos engulfed them once more. "No. You can't take her." But just before the abyss swallowed them again, something flickered, a twinge, a spark of defiance in the dark. "Who dares challenge the void?" A cold and mocking voice echoed, stretching across time and reality. As the shadows pulsated, Sarah felt a gnawing truth crawl out from the depths of her mind. What if there was something deeper, far beyond the surface of fear? Something that linked her soul to the very darkness writhing around them. The air crackled with energy, pulling at the corners of reality, as Sarah clutched Anna's hand tighter, fearing that, this time, she might truly lose her. Would they hold on long enough to confront the truth, or had they already crossed a line beyond which even hope couldn't save them? The darkness pressed down on them, an entity with weight and malice. Sarah felt every heartbeat echoing in her ears, sinking with the chaos. Anna's eyes flared, an ember against the gathering shadows, but the shadows pulsed with fury, dragging them closer into their abyss. "Mom!" Anna's voice trembled, the shadow's whispers wrapping around her like frigid hands. "Make it stop. Stay with me." Sarah tightened her grip, the warmth of Anna's hand grounding her, pushing against the icy tendrils creeping up her arm. "We're stronger together." But Anna's gaze flitted to the corner of the room where the shadows coiled, shifting like snakes ready to strike. "I can't. They keep telling me to give in. No." "Anna." Panic surged. They were two souls against an eternity of darkness. "They're liars. You have to believe that you can beat them." The air thickened, swirling with an otherworldly chill. Sarah could feel the temperature drop. Each word felt like a life raft, barely keeping them afloat. "Remember the park? The swing set? How you would fly?" Anna blinked, a flicker of recognition igniting her expression. The shadows hissed louder, angry sibilants that threatened to drown her mother's voice. "Stop. You're making her suffer." Sarah pushed forward, desperation building. "You're not alone. Fight them. You are so much stronger." But Anna's face paled, her eyes wide and unfocused. "Mom, I'm scared. I don't know if I can." "Fear is just a shadow, Anna. It's not real." Sarah's voice sliced through the oppressive gloom, heart racing as if it could break through the darkness itself. "You have to see it for what it is. Don't let them win." Suddenly, a deep rumble echoed, the room shaking as shadows lashed out, ripping at the fabric of their surroundings. Anna screamed, a pure, raw sound that shattered the silence. In that moment, the shadows recoiled, drawn away by the force of her fear. "Let her go!" Sarah shouted, her voice explosive against the dark. She stepped forward, moving instinctively to shield her child. But the room began to morph, its angles twisting as the shadows tried to swallow them whole. "Join us!" The shadows wrapped around her legs like icy chains, their cold breath chilling to the bone. "All will be well if you surrender." "No." Anna fought against them, pushing against the encroaching darkness. Her eyes glinted with fierce resistance. "I won't be afraid." A sudden blinding light surged from Anna, radiating outwards and causing the shadows to writhe in agony. They shrieked, their voices a mixture of rage and despair as if something sacred had been breached. "Do it, Anna. Focus on the light." Sarah urged, her voice cracking but unwavering. "Remember our love." Anna's form shimmered, flickering like a flame in the wind. The shadows hissed, recoiling, but they were relentless, lunging again. "What are you doing?" The cold voice echoed louder. "You cannot escape your fate." There was a moment, a heartbeat of quiet as the shadows hesitated, taken aback. "Believe in yourself." Sarah shouted, her heart pounding like thunder. With a choked scream, Anna thrust her hands out, her light exploding in a violent burst, carving through the shadows like a knife. The darkness writhed, retreating, roaring their fury as they were pushed back. "Yes!" Sarah exclaimed, a surge of hope coursing through her veins. But the shadows mutated, swirling together, reshaping into a monstrous visage, eyes glowing with malevolence. And then, just as suddenly, Anna's light began to flicker. "Mom, I'm." Her resolve faltered, the strength waning like a dimming star. "No. Not now." With a final, desperate scream, Anna's form dimmed beneath the oppressive shadow, her luminous spark swallowed. Sarah froze, paralyzed by fear, clenching her fists. "Anna! A choice must be made." The shadow voice echoed, twisting reality further. What would Sarah do now? Would she risk her own soul to save her child, or find another way to fight against the shadowy terror that entwined them? As darkness converged, the air thickened with dread. The shadows encroached once more, leaving no room for retreat. Her heart raced, the Weight of every choice pressing down on her chest like a leaden block. Mom! I need you. With a flickering ember of hope still burning bright in the blur of darkness, Sarah prepared for what she knew might be the ultimate sacrifice. Could love truly transcend even the deepest shadows? They would find out, but only if both mother and daughter could evade the encroaching fate that threatened to claim them both. The silence felt deep in Sarah's bones as the darkness throbbed around them. Shadows pulsed like a heartbeat, and the air hung thick with tension. Everything hung in the balance: their lives, their love, their very souls. With each moment, the nightmare pressed against her chest like a weight that threatened to crush her. Anna! Sarah screamed again, her voice an echo lost in the shifting mass of night. She felt blind panic wrapping around her heart. She could see with her mind's eye the spark that once radiated from her daughter's spirit, now dulled, flickering under the relentless pull of shadows. Those shadows weren't just menace, they were hunger itself, a deep and unquenchable appetite for light. Kneeling against the cold, damp ground, Sarah took a breath. She needed strength. You are my daughter. She shouted into the engulfing void, her voice cracking with desperation. You are everything to me. For a moment, a thread of warmth illuminated the darkness. A voice, that of a young girl full of life, whispered back, Mom, I'm scared. No, Anna. Listen to me. Sarah leaned in, eyes wide with fervor. All our memories, the swings, the laughter, the bear hugs, none of it is lost. You have to take back what they've stolen. They don't own you. The shadows twitched, grasping at the golden memory that hung like a thread in the air. She could sense that her love coursed through it, a fierce energy that could break their grip. Anna's eyes, filled with shimmering fear, flickered as they searched the depths for something, anything to hold on to. Then the shadows lunged. Join us. Accept your fate. They hissed in a chorus of voices, drowning out Sarah's plea. Tendrils snaked around Anna, pulling her further into the abyss. No. The word exploded from Sarah's throat as she surged forward. She felt her body burn with resolve, muscles straining against unseen forces dragging her back. You will not take her. She plunged through the dark tendrils as they whipped around her like furious serpents. Mom! Anna's voice wavered, rising higher with panic. Help me! In that moment, something within Sarah ignited a fire fueled by years of love, memories, and an irreplaceable bond. You don't have to be afraid. She yelled again, clamping down on her fear. Fight with me. Fight for us. Anna turned, eyes brimming with uncertainty, but that flicker of spirit was there, the faintest glow of hope battling against enveloping shadow. I don't want to lose you. Then Sarah realized she didn't want to just save Anna, she needed Anna to save herself. Then you must choose to be brave. She implored, tears streaming down her cheeks. You can break free. Just like that. Her heart raced as she saw a glimmer of defiance in Anna's eyes against the suffocating dark. At that urgent moment, a surge of light erupted from Anna. It didn't start strong, but it was enough, a shimmering glow that pierced through the darkness like a lighthouse in a storm. Shadows writhed and shrieked, refracting in the brilliance of love. Mom! Anna exclaimed, voice trembling but emboldened, I feel it. It's working. Yes. Together. But the shadows screamed, writhing in agony as they clawed at the edges of their light. A significant surge erupted from the depths, a wave of darkness crashing down upon them, threatening to swallow their newfound hope. You cannot escape your fate. It echoed, a menacing growl that reverberated through the air, but Sarah pushed forward, refusing to retreat. We are not yours. She yelled, fueled by a desperate courage. We will not be taken. Holding her breath, Sarah felt the intensity of Anna's shining spirit rise as the darkness clashed against it. For a moment, the shadows quavered, hesitated. It was their moment, a heartbeat where fear lost its power. Believe in yourself, Anna. You are so much more than this darkness. The words glided on the edge of hope, breaking through the swirling dread. And in that climactic moment of sound and fury, Anna reached out. She extinguished the flickering shadows as the light within her erupted into a vibrant beam, illuminating the darkness that stretched endlessly before them. Caught off guard, the shadows shrank back, hissing fury while Anna's light pierced through, unraveling the chains binding her. "Mom!" Anna's voice was bright, the fear replaced with a fierce determination. "I can do this." With a radiant burst, the twin shadows evaporated. The room filled with an exultant brightness as Sarah collapsed onto her knees, gasping for breath, tears spilling like rain as a cacophony of whispers faded into silence. The shadows disintegrated, their hold broken. "Mom!" Anna launched herself into Sarah's arms, wrapping tight. "We did it. We really did it. Yes. We're together. We made it through." Sarah clung to her, belly lurching with overwhelming relief and gratitude. For the first time, in what felt like forever, they could finally inhale the shadows had shattered, leaving the air clear, fresh, and warm. As they embraced, Sarah felt irrevocably changed. Their love had withstood the test, glimmering brightly, defiant against any darkness that dared cross their path. There would be darkness, yes, but together they always had light, the strongest force of all. With the shadows banished, Sarah lifted her head from Anna's shoulder, taking in the fading remnants of their nightmare. They were back in their own world, silent night air, a blanket of stars covering the sky. "Will they ever come back?" Anna asked, her voice small. "No," Sarah replied firmly. "Not while we're together. We will always fight them with our love." Tears glistened in Anna's eyes as they shared a smile etched with promise, forged by fire and hope. And as they stepped into the glow of their new dawn, hand in hand, the world sparkled with the fierce beauty of possibility, no shadows looming, no darkness whispering. Just them, ready to face whatever may come next. Now, don't forget how powerful this moment was. If you enjoyed this story or feel even just a flicker of inspiration, you need to subscribe now so you don't miss any of our next exclusive tales. Smash that like button right this second to help the algorithm keep our story family alive. And I want to hear your thoughts. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories. What did this conclusion mean to you? Share it all. And let us spread the love. Share this video with 5 friends who need to witness this journey with us. Don't wait even one more second. Your support makes all the difference.